Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got one of my favorite songs off of Let It Be today. We learned how to do Dig a Pony. So this one has got some really cool guitar parts in it. So what I just played there is kind of like Lennon's parts, so kind of more just kind of the foundational chords during the verse and stuff. But then we're also going to be covering all of George Harrison's fills that he does throughout the song, as well as his really, really nice solo. So we're going to really take an in-depth look at this one. Before I get into it though, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so you know when we see a new video. Like and comment the videos all you can. That really helps the algorithm. So I really appreciate it whenever anybody does that. And if you really like what I do here on YouTube and you want to kind of support me just on all these guitar lessons that I put up on YouTube every week, the best way to do it is actually join my Guitar Academy. And you're going to see a link to that in the description below. It's my GL365 Academy. It's kind of my online guitar school. And you get personalized support from me there. You get access to all of my courses, covering everything from complete beginner courses to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone. I go live every week. There's a weekly chat just with Academy members where you can just ask me questions and just live video chat with me for at least an hour every week. So hopefully you'll come and join the community. Got a fun community over there. So let's check out this song. So I'm in standard tuning here, and so let's start here with this intro, which is, by the way, this is the Let It Be naked version, which is probably a better version of it. There is something like when you see it live, you see that kind of thing happen in the song and stuff, but we're just gonna do the version that's on that album there. So very similar though. All right, so we start with this intro, which is really fun to play. All right, and that goes into the verse. So we have George and John, they do this together. So they're both playing the same thing. So we have this. So we're going to start here at the third fret on the low E string, then slide 5 to 7 on the low E, then play 5-7 on the A string, over to 5 on the D, and then back to the 7th fret there on the A string. Now from there we have so that's going to be 5 on the A, slide 7 up to 9 on the A, and then play 7-9 on the D, over to 7 on the G, and then back to that 9 on the D. So it is. All right, then you're gonna jump back here and just play an A major. Really, you guys play an A power chord if you want to. Just the open A string and the 2nd fret across the D, G, the B. And then from there you have. So we play that. You hit the open A string a couple times. And you're gonna play hammer 3 to 4 on the A string. Then pick 2 on the D. Then you're gonna hammer 2 to 4 on that D string, and then over to the 2 on the G. So just coming into that. So we have. And when you get to that 2nd fret there on the G, come back down 4-2 on the D. And then here we're gonna play. You're gonna play 3 to 4 again. Do that hammer on, and this last note in the lick is going to change during really kind of what section of the song. So in the intro of the song, this very first time you hear it, you hear a hammer 3 to 4, and then you hear an open D string there. And that's because it's transitioning back over to this to start the riff over again. But when they go to the, so it's kind of looks like this. But when they go to the A chord going into the verse, you'll hear them do this. It goes to the second fret there on the D instead of the open D. So when you listen really close, it's actually kind of random which one they do. And you know, it could be George doing one and John doing another, since they're playing together at that point. So that, I think that when it's is an open D string, I think a lot of times is when they're transitioning to start the riff over is really when that, so that it's kind of a quick shift. So I think it's just an open D string at first time. So we have this. And then start the riff over. So you get that open D, and that allows you to come back down and start again. And here, we're going to end it with the second fret, which is going to be part of the A chord. So you're playing, that takes us into the verse there. And so you're already at the second fret. So it's basically the same riff done twice. That last note is an open D string the first time, and then it's the second fret there, that E note there, the second time through going into the verse. All right, now when we get to the verse, we have Lennon's, what John Lennon does here. It looks like this. Kind of that same thing right there. So we start here. This is an A major chord, but it might be a little bit challenging. It's more challenging than the typical A. So we have the open A string, and you have this. You're barring across the second fret of the D, G, and the B. But on top, you're going to have this fifth fret there on the high E string. So it's an A as well. So it's still just a regular A major. So this is a typical 1-4-1 progression, just repeated over and over again. So what's going on here is we have this chord, some really light strumming on it. Remember, this is just Lennon's part. We'll take a look at Harrison when he's doing over it in a second. And what you're going to do is you're going to hammer on the fourth fret there on the D string and the third fret there on the B string. And when you do that, it turns it into a D major chord. And then back to the A, the D, back to A. So we have this. It's kind of that. So just kind of that figure. It does it, that hammer on 3 times. Now, it goes to an F sharp minor chord, which is going to be a full bar at the second fret, and then the fourth fret on the A and the D in front of it. Now you're going to hear this little, and you're like, where's that at? That's George is doing that, so we'll cover that in a second. So from this F sharp minor, it then goes to a B minor chord, but we're going to keep this note on the second fret there, this F sharp in the bass. So it's going to have the fifth in the bass. So it's a second inversion B minor chord. So what we're going to do is just still keep that full bar at the second fret. And then you're going to play the third fret on the B string in front of it, 4th on the G, and 4th on the D. So still strum all 6 strings. So you have the F sharp in the bass. And then we're gonna go to a G dominant 7th chord. So that's gonna be a full bar at the 3rd fret. So just move the bar up 1 fret, and you're gonna play the 5th fret on the A in front of it, the 4th fret on the G, and then Lennon loved this voicing with the pinky there as well. On the B string, it's going to be played at the 6th fret. So he rarely did it like that. You like to see it, guys. He liked that. Makes it a little bit more dissonant, but it's just an octave up from that lower one. So we have this all together. Dig a pony, you can celebrate anything you want. Yeah, you can celebrate anything you want. So after you do that B minor to the G7 twice, goes back to that B minor and back to the G7, then it resolves down to an E major chord. Typical E major. So that's the whole verse progression for Lennon. Then he just repeats that. You can penetrate any place you go. Yeah, you can penetrate any place you go. I told you so. So that's it for this. So it's just that progression repeated twice. So what is George doing over that? So he's basically adding a bunch of fills, and he'll play some of the chords as well too. So it's coming out of this when he gets to the A. So that's through the first group of, first time through the chord progression, that's what George does over it. And there's little variations. So he's kind of messing around with these 6th intervals. So we're going to start here with just a slight fill. It's not like he does this slightly different. This is like the live version on the rooftop is what they used here. So we have... So we're going to be hammering, so we start with kind of the same thing. Maybe not do the big stretch because Lennon's got that. But then he does this. Leading into that F sharp minor, you're going to just hear kind of hammer 2 to 4 on the G. And then 2 on the D maybe, and then resolve it to the F sharp minor. So 2, 4, back down to the 2, then 2 on the D, and then to the F sharp minor. So it's kind of good to go into the chord after it. Now from here, when he gets to the F sharp minor, he's going to do another little lick that leads into the B minor. So that's kind of the same thing. We're going to hammer 2 to 4 on the D, back down to the 2, then over to 4 on the A, and then to that B minor. So we have this. Now, when we get to the G7, when John does that, George starts doing. So he's just messing around with 6. Now these are slightly different as he plays this part throughout the song, but he's messing around with the same. Kind of just messing around with them. So the notes are the 4th fret there on the G, and then the 3rd fret on the high E. I'm a hybrid picking that, so the bottom of the G string's being hit with a pick, and I'm using my middle finger to get the top string. And then up to the 5 on the G and the B in the high E, sorry. And then 7 on those 2 notes, back down to the 5s, and then back down to the 4 and the 3. So with this. And then he usually resolves this to that, which is the 4th fret there on the G, and then the 2nd fret on the high E. So with this. And as he holds that, so when it gets to the E chord, he kind of holds that until the progression gets back through the B minor to the G7. And when it gets to the E, he starts this little. So that's more 6th. It's hard to say that word. So 1st fret on the G, and then open high E, and then the 2nd fret on the G, 2nd fret on the high E, then move that up 2 frets, and then when he goes up to the 5th fret on the high E string, he just still keeps that note there on the G string, the 4th fret, and just plays the 5th fret. So it goes. He doesn't do that or that. He just goes. So hear this. Sorry. And then we're going to move up here to the 7th fret on the G and the high E, then 8 and 9. So hear this. So all together for George's verse. Then we start the verse riff over again, and he kind of starts it the same way. And then when it gets to that G7 again. Now this one, he plays this, like I said, he plays a 6th over the G7 a little bit differently. You see that one, I played that 4 and the 3, then slid 5 to 7 on those with a 6. Back down to 5s, the 4, 3, then went back to the 5 before resolving to that chord. So you will see little variations. Now the end of the 2nd verse, always kind of leading into the chorus, he's going to, instead of go up with the 6, he's going to do this into the chorus. So it's just going those 9th fret on the G and the high E, down to 7, and then that 4 on the G, the 5 on the B, and then down to 5 on the high E, down to the 2s, and down to that 1 with the open E. So it's kind of reverse. You're not doing that 8. And then we get to the chorus. So the chorus is really a combination of both parts equally here. So it doesn't sound quite like the recording unless you have 2 guitar players playing this, because George's riffs that he's playing is really making that chorus move along, but John is keeping the harmony down. So anyway, so what John's playing during the chorus is this. Some crazy vocals there. So that's just a G major bar chord. So that we have the full bar at the 3rd fret, 4th fret on the G in front of it, 5th on the D, and 5th on the A. So that G to the D major chord, and then to the A major, however you want to play it. And then that same riff that we did in the intro. And once again, he has a lot of open D to transition back to the G chord. So, and here, the second time through the chorus, so it goes through the G, the D, the A. For the second half of the chorus, it's so it's kind of played more aggressively. almost like a shuffle feel. So all together. All right, so now, what does George do over that? His moves around quite a bit more, so it looks like this. All right, so very similar to the intro there. So so you got George, which he's gonna play kind of a simplified version of the intro. So 3 on the low E string, slide 5 to 7 on that low E, over to 5 on the A. Then just move up here to do this little first inversion, pick across the first inversion D major triad. So we have this 9th fret on the A, 7th on the D, 7th on the G. So with this. And then he matches John with the riff. And then when the second half, John's doing that, we had just George going, just playing that same riff that we did in the intro one time through. They both kind of pause on that A. All right, so that is what George is doing during the chorus. It goes back to the same verse, same chorus, and then out of the second chorus, we have the solo, which is really great solo. Before I get into the solo, just what is the solo over? It is over the verse chords. And John plays it slightly different. So he'll kind of do, so he's kind of playing, this is not exact, so it's just kind of, he's kind of playing lighter version of the thing. And he's doing some of those lines that George did. And when he's doing that B minor to the G7, he's really kind of just picking out notes. He's not going like he does in the verse. He's going until he gets to that E. So it is the same thing. He's just playing it slightly different. So just kind of lighten up on it a little bit. That's all you got to really do. All right, so let me go through George's solo real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. So beautiful. I mean, it's just like until you learn one of George Harrison's solo, you don't realize how good of a guitar player he is. I mean, they're tasteful and they work and stuff. But then when you physically get your hands on one, I mean, there's obviously solos that he's written that are just like the solo for something or something like that, which is just one of the greatest things ever done in music history. But even this is just like, yeah, it's a nice solo. It's really, really nice. And then you see how brilliant it is when you get your hands on it. So hopefully you guys will agree with me. So we have this. So we're going to start with this 9th fret on the G string. And then do a whole set pre-bend and release that bend. Then over to the 11th fret there on the D. Then over to the 10th fret there on the B string, and then you're gonna do a pre-step, kind of whole step, pre-bend and release again. Over to the 11th fret there on the G. So with this. Then you're going to jump up here to the 12th fret on the B string, release, and then pull off to 10. So it is. All right, from there we have this. So that's going to be a. Now you could do that there, but he does it back here. So we're going to play this bend at the 12th fret there, a whole step bend on the B string, and then grab 14 with your pinky up there. Then pick that 12 again, pull off to release it, and then pull off to 10, and then resolve it down to the 11th fret there on the G. So this. So all together. All right, from there. So that is, you're at the 11th fret right now on the G. You're gonna hit that very, very lightly. So he just hits that note really lightly, and then to the 10th fret on the B, and then up to the 12th. So you pick them harder as you go up. When you get that 12, you're gonna bend that a step and a half. So you want it to match the note there at the 15th fret on the B string. Then you're gonna pick that, release the bend, and resolve it here to the 10th fret there on the G. So we have this. And then we have, you're just going to do a bend to the 12th fret on the G, release, and back down to the 10. So we have this. And then back to that step and a half bend. I know it's a big bend. Can you imagine he's doing this on a rooftop in London in the middle of January, or the end of January. It's going to be freezing. It's hard to do these bends. So we have this. So that step and a half bend again. Release, and then resolve that one to the 12th fret there on the G. And then we go into some more sixths. So we're gonna kind of octaves up from what we did, a little bit what we did earlier. 13 on the G, 12 on the high E string. Then move it up to 14 on the G, and kind of hang out there for a second. And then move it up to 16 on those two strings. Then back down to 14s. And then back down to the 13 and the 12. And then back down to the verse. So all together. So some really, really great stuff there. All right, so then it just goes back to the same verse, same chorus that we did before. And then the outro is the same as the intro. And it kind of ends on like an A major chord. And you hear these trills played by Lennon, which is, he's kind of holding that A chord, and then he just plays, he's trilling the 3rd fret on the high E string and back to the open high E. And then he comes over and trills on the, he's holding the 2nd fret because he's still holding a major chord. And he's trilling between the 3rd fret and the 2nd fret there. Kind of like that. He just kind of ends the song. Probably just threw it in there on a whim. But it's on the recording. So there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs on Let It Be. I really like this version too. So after watching Get Back, like everybody else did, it just kind of inspired me to do a lot of songs on these. So that's what I'm doing this week. It's pretty much all Beatles. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.